so the reason we're gathered is because I want to build and I want to be part of a business that operationally does things with a high level of craftsmanship, just as in the installations they do as well. And I think that building a brand as a craftsman is part of that operational capacity, and I want to bring people along a journey from an owner standpoint, but I want the craftsmen that are doing the work to be involved more than just the work. I want the opportunity for someone to come in entry level, learn the business, and be part of something. And the number one thing to remember, if we'd come back to one thing to remember from today as we go through these 3 pillars, is the brand we build is shaped by the actions of today. So our habits today are going to shape the brand we build in the future. And in every moment, we're either building or taking away from that opportunity. So the 3 pillars we're going to work through is strategy, marketing, and then brand and reputation. So strategy answers the question, like, all right, what are we going to do? Well, it answers the question, what are we going to do, the service we're going to offer as a business, how we're different, what's the difference that we're going to bring to the market, who needs these things, and then why do we do it? What's the purpose behind what we do? And the first thing is that we've chosen to do polished concrete, epoxy and other various forms of urethane coatings, terrazzo floors, and then precast terrazzo and precast concrete. And those are the services we offer the marketplace. And the reason we don't do more things and we only do these things is because I want to be part of people that do these things really well. I don't want to just check it off and say, yes, we do it. But these 4 services have a lot of similarities with the investment in the equipment we buy for these things, and also the skills associated with these things can transfer to the other things. And so if we want to be the best in the world, or working to be the best in these things, I think we have to concentrate on just a few things. And we have to practice. And I think there's a lifetime's worth of practice if you want to be really good at something. And so we say, this is what we're going to do. These are the services, the surfaces we're going to offer the marketplace. And now there's many people that do these other things, but what are the things that make us different? How are we going to give an approach to customers that we're a better fit? And I want it to be irresponsible for someone not to choose us, not because we think we're the best, but we're the best choice in the marketplace. And the 3 things, the way I would see these things as a customer is, one thing about us is our strong and steady team. I think we have accountable people, we have responsible people, we have people who are building careers here, we do the right thing, we work hard, we're going to own your job, you're going to be assigned different people, we have people playing strengths in our business, we have operational capacity to support things, we have backup plans to equipment and trucks, and we're growing in skills, and that to our customer, that means they get a strong and steady team. I think that we focus on doing the best work we can, and that we want to deliver at a high level of craftsmanship. And so that means that everything we do, whether it's putting densifier on concrete or a terrazzo project where every stone, and in our precast where every 16th inch matters, that it's going to be done with a high level of craftsmanship in the task that we're given. Also, design-driven detail. I believe that when it's hard to do, when someone else says it's impossible, that we're the guys that are going to pay attention to those things, be part of those things, and we're going to be men and women of great design and detail for our customers, and we're going to be a great partner with architects and designers early on in construction that help put together like a whole building, not just our floors, that we're sought out because we're going to bring great design and detail to the job. So this is what we do, this is how we do it different, and then we got to think, all right, who are the people that need these things? And I think the people that need these floors or precast, that appreciate these things and like how these things are done, are people with great taste and people who build well. So that means we get to work with some of the best general contractors, we get to work with architects and designers who put a lot of thought into the work that gets done, and the facilities we get to work in, or the residential homes we get to work in, are typically people that value great aesthetics and durability and want a great partner for their job. And so those are the people we get to work with. So we do this is the value we bring to the market, these are the people we get to work with. But I think the most powerful form, or the most powerful thing about our business, is actually the why we do it. And the why is that we want to grow leaders who deliver the best work in the marketplace. And it's because we do this way for these people, it's actually the constraints or the pressure that we have to perform on the jobs that actually help us grow in our virtue and then help form our character. So because I'm doing these things this way for these people, I'm going to have pressure I'm going to have to be shaped and molded into a different person than I was previously. And there's a process of formation here. And I think the virtues we grow in are, I got to be more kind, I got to be more disciplined, I got to be more faithful, I got to be filled with more self-control through doing these things. And through that process, I become a stronger, more capable person. And I would say everyone in here, because of this place and the way we work, it helps us be better men and women. So this is our strategy. This is what we're going to do for business. And then marketing helps us answer, all right, this is what we want to do. How do we get people to know about us? And how do we get people to choose us? And that's the form marketing. These are actionable ways that we're going to do things so that way we get work. And to know about us, the first thing up is just marketing assets. These are common things. So let's think about some marketing assets we have in our business. One is my jacket, it says dancer. So somebody might see that. That's a marketing asset. What's like another general marketing asset that we have in our business? Okay, trucks.
Closeout signs.
Closeout signs. Website, yep. Instagram, social media. What's that? Stickers, yep. Yep, word of mouth is there. But let's think about like assets, like the creative newsletter, the process magazine. What's any other like asset, like traditional marketing asset we have? What's that? Yep, us.
Our
Magazine. Yep, we also do lunch and learns. So that's a continuing education for architects and designers. We do shop tours, we invite people in. So those are kind of all the assets. And then DJ led into behavior, like us. We are one of the marketing assets. That our behavior on a job site are the way our trucks look, the way we carry ourselves, the conversations we have with people on job sites, that's all a way other people can know about us, is our behavior. And then Kyle led to word of mouth. And I think this is one of the most powerful forms of marketing, is because other people are carrying, hey, those guys are really good, you want to make sure you choose them. And that is how a lot of people hear about us, is we say, hey, how'd you hear about us? Well, somebody else did a project with you guys, and I heard that you're guys to call, the guys to call. I have a problem, and I called 6 people, and they all said call to answer if you have a problem. And that's where word of mouth carries a lot of weight. So marketing, this is how people know about us, is through traditional marketing assets, the behavior that we have on job sites. People are either impressed, positive or negative, or not impressed with our behavior. And then they're going to tell other people, and they're going to say positive things or negative things about us based upon their experiences. And so once someone knows about us, then they have to choose us. So just because somebody knows, just because their friend told them to call Dancer, gives us an opportunity. It gives us a seat at the table to bid the job. But there's no project where we automatically get. We have to compete every day to get work. And we compete in a couple ways and with different people, but one of the first things people ask when they're choosing someone to work with is, can I trust them? And they're looking for small signs that point towards, is this a trustworthy company or is it not a trustworthy company? So what are some ways that somebody's going to experience us, and it's like a little hint? Well, I'll give you an example to start, but what are a couple other hints that people can trust us? I would say if a project leader says, yeah, I'll meet you there at 8 o'clock, and they show up at 7:55 ready to go, it would build trust. If a project leader said, hey, I'll get you a bid Tuesday, and they give it to them Tuesday, they're starting to build trust. But what are a couple other ways that people would trust us? Why would they trust us? Like, what are the little breadcrumbs that would lead for them to believe that?
Hitting deadlines and operating within our budget.
Yep.
Operating within the log. Budget.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know one word or a small way to say this, but I know a lot of the things that people have pointed out to me through the years are just that my clients have pointed out to me. Most people that buy our floors, they think the floor looks good, but they don't really know exactly what they're looking at. So whenever we call out something that's not best work in front of them and say, you know what, I'm not digging this, I'm going to take care of it for you, they really appreciate that. Otherwise, they wouldn't even know there was something wrong with it. The fact that we want to step out and just handle it makes them feel pretty good.
Yeah. Communication.
So our tools and the way they're organized in our box trucks.
Yes.
If somebody gets a peek inside there, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Could be
Consistency.
just consistency, showing up every time, doing what you say you're gonna do.
Yep. Yeah, just boring day by day consistency. Sometimes people just want to drive by the buildings and just know that there's like a structure there, that it's just not like, something starting out. They trust that there's like assets and infrastructure to the company. They trust when you tell somebody like, hey, how long you been working there? 5 years. They trust things because it's like, oh, they carry people for a long time.
I think them seeing our knowledge base helps out too, when they can like just talk to a random guy on our team and, ask questions and then people can answer them. It's a lot better than just the guys who are being like, I don't know, man, I just do what I'm told.
Yep.
So
They might trust that we have pictures from 2013 that, they've been around for a while. There's trust built in the way they choose. Another question customers are asking is, do you have the capacity for my project? And capacity might be like, do you guys have the skill sets? Do you have the team? Do you have the equipment? Do you have the ability to hit our schedule? Are you guys able to help me if I just need a single guy with a grinder for a couple days? Are you guys able to help me if I have a big airplane hangar and I need to do one of the largest floors in the region? And I would say our team model helps us answer that question because we can send a guy out with a grinder. You guys have been that guy with a grinder many a times. And we can also combine teams like the story we told earlier where, hey, we have almost an impossible deadline. We really need your help. We combine teams, focused on roles, and got the job done as well. So there's really not a job within these surfaces that we can't do in the region. And then price is always gonna be weighted heavy in the decision making they make. And there's a market-based price for the work we do. So we'll use an example of polished concrete, but since Jake and I have started bidding polished concrete, the price of polished concrete hasn't went up. And so the price, we'll say the market will pay about $6 a square foot for polished concrete. And that's the same price we were bidding 12 years ago. Yet the cost of machinery to polish has risen, the cost of labor to do the polishing has risen, the cost of the products and the tooling, everything has risen, yet the price is maintained the same for the customer. And the reason is through the efficiencies. What used to take us 3 weeks to complete, now we might do in 6 days through maybe bigger grinders, more powerful grinders. We're better. We're not like, one of the things is we don't fight edges anymore. We used to fight edge scratches all the time and it'd be a time suck. And yet that's not something that I've seen on our floors. And so we're actually more efficient than we used to be. And the market competes on that price. We can't just be like, oh, we want to make more, let's charge $10 a square foot for polished concrete, is because people just won't buy it. We're not only competing with other people that do polishing, we're actually competing with other floor coverings. They might be looking at an LVP or a tile or maybe not doing anything. And then we're also competing with, is the project going to be funded as a whole? So if somebody's building a $2 million building and our polish price is $40,000 for a lot of their polished concrete in their building, if that whole project budget comes in at $3 million, they just won't build the building. And we've done plenty of jobs where we run budgets, it's over budget, and the job just doesn't go. So we actually have to compete and work with other trades to get prices down so projects can be funded so we can move forward and everybody has work. So we're competing with other people who do our work, we're competing against other options, and we're competing with the market of even moving forward. And so we have to maintain a market-based pricing, and one of the best ways we do that is through our efficiencies. The better we can close out jobs, the better work we can deliver, the better we can be in that option as well. So we have our strategic plan. This is who we are, this is what we do. Now we're telling people about it, people choose us. And then we get to the third pillar is brand. And the word brand is the same thing as reputation. And it's just, our brand and reputation is what do people expect based upon the habits that we've shown them. And so, for example, a personal brand, and I'm not talking about like somebody's social media account, but I'm talking about who's got a personal brand. And one of the best ways to do this is to think about someone that you look up to, someone whose habits and behaviors are aligned with more who you want to be like, and think about what it is about them that you appreciate or like. And that's because they've shown habits and character traits that have developed a personal brand for them. This week, Ashton at 5:45 a.m. had the truck door open, loading a skid of chips into his truck. That way when his team got here, they were ready to hit the road. And that's not a one-time event. Ashton has a personal brand with me that he's someone that gets here, gets loaded up, gets ready, and is ready to rock and roll. And so if he does that over and over again, it's to be expected that I expect when he leads jobs, that's how he leads. This week I saw Jake pulling Vin Diesel back from a job site that wasn't his project he was a project leader on, and I thought, oh, there's Jake helping behind the scenes, not telling anybody what he's doing, but just helping out because Jake's like a quiet, behind the scenes, always helping out, always doing something way beyond his responsibility. And we've seen that over and over again, and so that's his personal brand. I needed a picture from a job 7 years ago, and I knew that if Ben Roy was on that project, he most likely has a picture of it because Ben has a brand or a reputation of always documenting things really well when he closes out and works on jobs. And so we all have kind of a personal brand, what's to be expected based upon how we've performed in the past. And when we think about a business brand, it's the same thing as what is to be expected from our business based upon our previous habits. And we're not in charge of this. This exists outside of us. We can control the habits. We can come back to every moment. We can positively or negatively influence others. But the customer, we got to think about our customers or future customers as what do they say or share when we're not around? What do they expect? So this is where I'll ask you guys for some feedback as well. But in one of our videos, Brandon Coe said he told somebody that he worked at Dancer, and what they said to him is that they are the gold standard. And we never use the word gold standard, but in their language, that's what they said. Recently, someone told me that there's a guy that's going to work here when he retires. I've never even met the guy, and yet they said he's going to work here, but the thing he's most nervous about is dancing in front of the team. And so there's some kind of brand or reputation with our customer that they know about, that you have to dance in front of the team. So those are two examples, but what are some things that you've heard about our business from customers that you were pleasantly surprised with, or it was like positive in nature, even if it's not the language we use?
The other day, when I was out there at FC Park, when I was seeing the guys was talking to me, and he goes, I told him that I work for Dancer, and he goes, yeah, there's quite a few good guys that work over there with you. I just thought that was pretty cool that he knows about us, and he's pretty high up at CME.
Yeah.
The owner of O&R has a lot of faith in us, so once they're not that long ago, do some touch-up work. He was just very kind and things that he had to say about our company, and that he knows when we're on the job, he doesn't have to worry about anything.
Barry, who works with the city of Fort Wayne, said that he just loves always having dates around a project. He said, I tell people if you want it done right, call me.
When we were unloading into IWU, there was a wagon guy that was just saying, oh, here comes Dancer, making the floors pretty, he's gonna make the floors shiny. So I think people just know we're gonna make the floors look cool.
There's been plenty of times where we need to stay late on a job site, and anytime I've asked the superintendent, like, can we stay past them, lock up? They always hesitate a little bit because they're not really supposed to do that, but usually they give us the go-ahead, and I feel like, if we didn't have a reputation for locking up and taking care of things, that would not happen.
I think that's happening on our third shift job right now, is they expected they were going to have supervision for us. And I think once we got set up and they saw how we worked, they realized they're good. We don't have to watch them. And that leads into culture. So we have a brand and reputation with customers. They're going to do the right thing. They're going to work hard. But then we also have a culture within our business. And our culture is not me teaching from the board. Our culture is actually what it's like to work here, like really, not just in a presentation mode, but what does the day-to-day look like, and how do you feel about work? And I want to create a business where it feels like people are trusted quickly, a place where people can grow. I want to create a business where people can make the most money they've ever made. I want to make a business where people can work here longer than they've ever worked anywhere else. And I want a place where it's actually the most challenging work of your life, and it actually forces formation and growth through the stresses of the job, which is kind of coming back to the why. But what are some things that you like about our culture, or maybe exist in the culture outside of what I say?
I like how everybody can be their own person and how we have a whole bunch of different characters, but we're still all aligned with the core values and we're all on the same page about doing best work. So really everything else flies other than that.
Let's say communication, just positive communication, I should say. Coming into this environment after where I have been, it's just, it's hard to describe, but everywhere out there doesn't take the time to talk to their employees, let alone to give compliments that help that growth process. Oftentimes you find a lot of people that will be more willing to put you down and build you up to try to build it themselves, and that's not a vibe that I get. So.
Yeah, kind of just piggybacking off what Ashton said. Yeah, just a bunch of different characters here, a bunch of different personalities, but when you're on the team, everybody's kind of got a common goal. We all have that hive mind, and yeah, it's just dope to be a part of. It feels like a members only club. Everyone around is kind of outside looking in, kind of like, dang, what goes on over there? And yeah, it's just like a sense of pride.
There's definitely tasks that we do that suck. Like you're doing it, you're like, man, this is terrible. I just want to be done. And you kind of look around and you're like, but all the guys on the team are doing it too. Like it's not just me. You think around it's like other places you work, there's school projects, or it's like there was that one person that kind of carried the load and did all the work, and the other people were just kind of behind the scenes. But I think when you're doing something like that here, you're like, well, at least, we're all in it together trying to knock this out and move on to the next thing.
I think from the outside looking in, being in the shop and being on site and with a microscope basically, and really seeing excellence at every corner. There's not a thing out of place, and that's obviously a group effort. It's not just one person. It's just a culture of excellence. I think that's really impressive.
So if we look around, if we think about the people in this room right now, I probably have a brand that you'll probably be in front of a whiteboard at some point in your future, and I'll be talking about the same thing over and over again. But if we look around and think about the team here, the next time I teach this, let's say is in 2 years, our team will be different. There will be a few guys that don't work here anymore. There will be a few people that have joined the team since then. And the culture is going to change all the time based upon the people who make it up. But I think that we're in charge, through this every moment we do something on a job site either builds or breaks from the opportunities we get in the future. So every time we do tape and plastic, every time we close out a job in Ramboard, every time we make the decision to do the hard right thing rather than the easy thing, every time we're willing to do something for a customer that's out of the ordinary, we continue to build opportunities for not only ourselves, but everybody in this room, and that helps shape our future. And building a brand, I think, really comes down to how we work, why we do what we do, and the behaviors people can expect from us. And I think we've built something really great here, but I think the opportunity continues to grow as we get people playing roles, experience, and grow their skill set. So thank you guys for listening and learning today, and we'll head to the Daily Huddle board. Shop Squad.